gonna have a discussion. I don't know how long I'm gonna go, but I'm gonna go for a little while. But we gonna have a in-depth discussion on the movie Microphone Check and how a lot of people are upset about it because Tariq Nasheed debunked a lot of myths and lies, falsehoods. It's funny how once again everybody tried to align themselves to black creations and say, oh, everybody played a role in it, but everybody else get to keep their inventions and their creations within their community. But everybody tried to say whatever black people invents is for everybody. And I say, no, give us our credit. But like I said, the only reason why this is allowed because black people allow it and they don't check these people. But now we're checking you. We're putting you in your place where you belong. No longer will we allow people to take credit for our blood, sweat, and tears. And I see Dr. Derek Cologne is trolling my channel with his goofy ass, you know, trying to argue with everybody, you know, about AF, artificial facts, has been debunked. Puerto Ricans and Jamaicans did not create hip hop. Yes, Grandmaster Flash, Africa Bambaataa, Cool Herc were or had Caribbean roots, but they were inspired by black music. You can't create something from a culture from another region. From so for real. I'm still waiting for somebody to tell me what dude from the Caribbean started making records in the 70s. Where do you hear the hip hop influence in any of those records from the early stages of hip hop? It's a lie. It's been debunked. And Fat Joe and Busta Rhymes been lying. And that's just the bottom line. Just keeping it 100. But give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. We will continue this discussion. All right. So let us continue. One thing I can say for that 2 hours and X amount of minutes, it was very informative. There were some things that I already knew, and there were some things that I didn't know. Now I knew about Busy B. Busy B says he's the first solo MC. Then I briefly remember uh Rock, but I didn't have enough intel on her. But then it came back to me a little bit later. Keep in mind, I'm almost 50. I forgot about all this stuff. But then just seeing, getting a refresher of the essence of hip hop. And then, like I said before, I had said this before this movie even came out. When Fat Joe and the Latinos started pushing this bogus, artificial facts, AF movement up, they put 50% in on hip hop, and then you started to hear the Jamaicans starting to try to say hip hop originated from Jamaica, which is absolutely motherfucking false. And they were trying to say because of the break beats, and at the end of the day, I'm gonna debunk that whole thing. Well, the break beats, whether you extended them or not, you contribute, but you didn't create. Because if you want to know the true definition of break beats, a lot of people, because keep in mind, I used to do music. All a break beat is a breakdown of a beat. That's how a lot of sampling was created. And primarily the drum parts, because usually a lot of the drum parts used to come from break beats. So that's how you would get the break beats from a lot of the drums, just the solo drums. And that's how that would happen. That's how that came about. So I already knew this kind of stuff. Once again, you can't talk to a dude that used to do music. And Kool Herc and Africa Bambaataa and Grandmaster Flash, yes, they had Caribbean roots, but they were inspired by mixing Black American music. So once again, you can't say you created something when you're basically using stuff that was created by foundational Black Americans or Black born Americans. And I don't even like this separation, but since y'all want to play that game, since y'all so-called Black Latinos and Jamaicans want to play that game, you want to you want separation. You want distance. Okay, cool. We can play that game. We can play that game. So now we putting it, we making it as clear as day. Black Americans, Black people born in the States created hip hop. And it's a fact, not fiction. Yeah, you contribute, but you didn't invent. You can't say you invented something coming from another region when you were inspired by another region. And somebody needs to explain that to that black ass, burnt bacon ass looking nigga Kai Kanat. And you can send this video to him. Tell him to watch his mouth and tell him don't disrespect Black Americans and say we don't have no culture. We are the culture. Saying we don't have a culture like the Black people from Africa. Interesting. Well, if that's the case, why you got Black people in Africa emulating Crips and Bloods? Being Crips and Bloods, being in gangs. Not that I'm saying that that's a good thing, but unfortunately, that's part of American culture as far as the streets go. So this stuff is easy to debunk. You didn't even need a documentary, but I think the documentary need to be made to send a message to these people that are putting out these falsehoods. But this is what people do. Everybody try to take credit for Black people's hard work. They try to align themselves and say, well, you did this and we did that. And we, like I said, Dr. Derek Cologne was getting on my nerve trolling my channel. Talking about King Mario had a Puerto Rican baby mama. So Okay, he procreated with a Puerto Rican lady. So fucking what? That doesn't mean Puerto Ricans helped create hip hop. He just created a Puerto Rican and black child. So okay, so make that make sense. But at the end of the day, he just ain't been the same since he had that debate with Tariq Nasheed, and he got destroyed. And I mean, Dr. Cologne got destroyed. And now I don't know why he's sitting up here trolling channels, trying to go fishing, looking for information. Because, like I said, we get tired of everybody trying to align themselves and attach themselves to us. Just like you had that anchor baby Joy Reid trying to say hip hop is for everybody, it's not just for black. Shut up, bitch. I mean, for real. Like, please, shut up. Bitch, please. You have to watch that kind of stuff. You have to watch that kind of stuff. But then again, I remember who she works for. And she do what her white bosses tell her to do. So, if they tell her to push a narrative, then they start pushing narrative. At the end of the day, it's one of these things where white people played a role in trying to push that, you know what I'm saying? Played a role in trying to push that movement and trying to instigate like what they do so well, instigate and divide. So they started trying to look for little angles, and then what they'll do is take a little angle and then they will basically enhance it, and then next year, they're running a full-fledged story about, well, they did this and they did that, sort of like how they instigated the whole East Coast West Coast thing. That's how that got started, by taking something and running with it and turning it and twisted it, and adding like verbal yeast to it to blow it up like as if you baking a cake or something. And that's how the East Coast West Coast stuff started. They were instigating that stuff, and that's unfortunately what it led to eventually you know taking the lives of possibly Tupac Shakur and Notorious B.I.G. But as I said before, you should go watch the movie. And like I said, a lot of people are upset, and particularly some of the Jamaicans and some of the, Puerto Ricans, because the lies that they have been putting out, trying to take. And the thing was, the Jamaicans were trying to take sole credit. Stop it. And the Puerto Ricans were trying to take half of the credit. And it's false on both sides. And one thing I give Tariq Nasheed credit, he does know how to strike a nerve. Just like me. I know how to strike a nerve. I'm good at it. And I stand on it as well. But just watching the film was very insightful. I wish I would have took notes. I wish I would have took notes, because it was basically the information that I already had, and then the information that Tariq Nasheed added. You know, if you go back once again, if you go back to the origins, you will go back to the 30s, the 40s. You can find songs with black people literally rapping. And then even when hip hop was starting to get off the ground, and even when hip hop was starting to get off the ground, if you go, I want you guys to Google this song. And now here's the thing. This is what people don't even remember this. Another contributor to hip hop that he should get his flowers was Johnny Guitar Watson. Johnny Guitar Watson would sing and rhyme at the same time. Go check out his album, Ain't That a Bitch. And then Johnny Guitar Watson made a song called Telephone that came out in 1980 that was later sampled by WC in the Mad Circle. Johnny Guitar Watson is literally rapping. So you mean to tell me, You know, and last time I checked, Johnny Guitar Watson, I think, was from somewhere in the South or something. So I don't think he was Caribbean, but that's what I'm saying. And when I was doing my research, and shout out to Modern Brutes too, because you know he had sent me some stuff because me and him was having a deep conversation about it, and he was getting a little irritated too because about people trying to take credit for our hard work, and he had found some records from like the 20s where dudes were and they were black artists that was literally rapping and rhyming. So how the fuck did that come from Jamaica? So how the fuck did that come from Puerto Rico? And then they try to use these things about the Congo drums. Y'all do know they had Congo drums in Africa, right? In which the Congo drums really came from Africa, which we all know to a certain degree. The Spaniards, some of them were slaves, and they procreated with a lot of the Africans, the slaves. Just look up the slave trade. We didn't come to America first. We went to actually South America. They were shipping slaves to South America first. How the fuck you think Brazil got the largest black population? Brazil has a bigger black population than the United States. So I know my history. Dr. Cologne is a moron. Okay, he's a moron. He's a clout chaser, and he is a secret. You know what I'm saying? And he is a secret hater of black people. So I'm even giving y'all a bit of a history lesson. So those so-called drums and stuff and Congo drums, did you say came from the Latinos? Wrong. Africa. I don't make me dive deep because I told you I can counter everything you come with. I know my history. This may be a sports channel, but I do my research. I get people sending me stuff all the time. I could sit up here and totally alter my channel and change it to a Black History channel because I'm deep into the history and I'm deep into the culture. So y'all need to stop. Dr. Cologne is a fucking liar, and he's delusional. He just a bitter old melanated Hispanic man who really don't have this disdain and vitriol for black people. And this is what I'll be saying. Exactly, Timmy. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. And this is what I was saying about there ain't no real alliance. I told you, man, about those so-called Afro Latinos, and I'm not saying all of them are that way, but a lot of them are. I told you they only want to be niggas when they around niggas. But then when they ain't around us, they call us mayates or whatever, whatever. You heard what Derek X said if you saw that movie? He even exposed the racism that Puerto Ricans secretly have for black people. Hey, what's going on, WCS? Yeah, WCS, they got a showing in your city, man. I highly recommend you check out Microphone Check. They got a showing in your city tonight. I highly recommend you go see that. Yeah, they got an Atlanta showing for my people in the ATL. They got a showing for Microphone Check in the ATL that start at 7:00. I have no idea where this particular theater is. You just got to go on Microphone Check website, Microphone Check film website, and this is the last day they're gonna feature this movie. They have a showing in, I think, New York today, and then they have a showing in the ATL. I got to see the Oakland screening on Thursday, enjoyed it to the fullest. But like I said before, um, it's just been a lot of misinformation because even the New York artists said that, hey, you know, yeah, hip hop started in the Bronx, but my family came from North Carolina. They came from New Orleans. They came from, you know, South Carolina, Georgia, all them type of places. Yeah, they would. Yeah, no. What I'm saying is that's true. And what I'm saying is, the late great Bob Marley was inspired by guys like James Brown, jazz, um, a little bit of rock and roll. I'm talking about Chuck Berry rock and roll. And it's funny, a lot of people keep forgetting that rock and roll was created by black people. Now they used to call it the devil's music until Elvis white ass came along. Then all of a sudden it was the greatest thing. And then they had the audacity to call Elvis the king of rock and roll when Elvis openly admitted that he used to go to black churches and he used to watch black performers perform. He stole his whole swag from black artists. Now, Mick Jagger, give him credit. Shout out to Mick Jagger. He openly admitted that he was a big James Brown fan. And he enjoyed watching James Brown perform. Keep in mind, there were certain places that James Brown, Chuck Berry, those type of people couldn't perform at. Muddy Waters, all those guys. And unfortunately, Chuck Berry went to, unfortunately, Chuck Berry went to prison like in the prime of his career for, allegedly, you know. And the thing is, and I give Chuck Berry credit, that dude was a soldier. He used to, he had a Cadillac or something that he used to drive or something. And that was like his tour. He lived out of his car because he basically was like, I'm not gonna give these he was like, I'm not giving these damn white people my money who discriminate against my people. Yeah, that well, breakdancing once again was an art form that you seen being performed by black people. Once again, people added a little flavor to it and whatever the case may be. They added some different things. You could be a contributor, but you don't get credit as being a inventor. Here's the thing. We all know that the NFL was created by a white man, but it didn't become the $1 billion conglomerate until they started letting blacks play. Same thing with the NBA. The NBA may have been created by a white man, but guess what? It didn't become lucrative until they allowed black players to play. Then it went on to become the multi-billion-dollar entity that it is today. Yeah, we didn't create it, quote unquote, but we contribute to it. And we never really said that we created basketball. So that's what I'm saying in regards to hip hop. We created hip hop. The funny thing is, do you see Filipinos talked about like allowing other people, they have their tradition, which is, we all know Filipinos are Asian people. Some of them like to be called Pacific Islanders, but they have their own culture. But you get people try to say hip hop isn't black culture and all this stuff is a big no. You're not. Nope, not gonna let you get away with that. You're not gonna do that. Nah, not today. Not today. Yeah, all those people were contributors. Little Richard, all them dudes. And they called it the devil's music. But then, like I said, when Elvis white ass started like performing rock and roll, oh, all of a sudden he's the king. And I think to a certain degree to this day, or as Deontay Wilder would say, to this day, this is why a lot of people have a lot of vitriol and animosity towards Elvis. Because Elvis didn't give enough credit to the creators. He would mention it occasionally, but I feel like he didn't give enough credit. And I'm trying to figure out, did Elvis ever sign any black artists? Did Elvis ever try to put any black artists on? Did Elvis ever take any black artists on tour with him? Could somebody please do some research for me? Because I don't remember Elvis ever like putting any black artists on, even though he stole from black artists. Did he ever sign a black artist? Yay, nay. Did Elvis take any black artists on tour with him? Even though the Elvis estate is probably worth billions of dollars. So that's what I'm saying. Elvis didn't do enough. There's one thing to say who inspired you, but did you really give back? Yeah, I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. Yeah, I knew it. So that's what I'm saying. Yeah, sure. Okay, fine. Fine. You were inspired by black artists, but did you ever it take more than just buying a black woman a Cadillac to say that you gave back? No, did you take black people on tour with you? Did you ever try to sign or put out black artists? Did you take any black artists on tour with you? Did you ever take a stand and when you were performing at those primarily white only joints, did you say, "Hey, I won't perform if you don't allow black artists to perform"? Elvis didn't take no stand like that because I know Colonel Parker didn't let Elvis do those type of things. Appreciate you. And Colonel Parker didn't allow Elvis to do that because Colonel Parker had a lot of influence on Elvis. Now, whether Colonel Parker, now I don't have enough proof to say Elvis was a white supremacist, but I feel like he didn't do enough. Now, Colonel Parker, that's a different story. Colonel Parker was a racist. Appreciate that. Yeah, Colonel Parker. Yeah, you can make a you can make a you can make a ginormous argument that Colonel Parker was a racist because he told Elvis not to really speak on Dr. Martin Luther King. So, like I said, Elvis made a fortune off basically you know what I'm saying, swagger jacking, colonizing, hijacking, emulating black music, and perpetrating it as if it was his own. And many people believe that it was his own. And that's why I don't understand when people say Elvis is the king. King of what? What are you the king of, dude? You basically Christopher Columbus rock and roll. And that's pretty much what they're trying to do now to hip hop music. And then if they ain't trying to colonize it and trying to rewrite history, the type of music that they putting out is not productive. It's not organic. It's not, you know what I'm saying? It's not joyful. And that's just real talk. You look what then became of our music now. You just be like, damn, is this even hip hop music now? Do people even really rhyme now? Just saying. I grew up. I'm spoiled, man. I grew up in the late '80s and the '90s, man. The '90s was the golden era of hip hop. Even going into the early 2000s, they still was putting out good stuff. But then as we got into the mid 2000s, that's when you started to see a drastic decline in hip hop music. You started to see stuff where you started to see, and make no mistake, it was intentionally did. It was intentionally did. Man, man, dude, fuck that, fuck that dude. And I hope you listening, Doctor Derek Cologne. Fuck you, for real. Because I already knew what type of clown you was on. I've been did my research on you. You have a secret disdain towards black people, American blacks. I started to see the decline like in the mid 2000s. You see, that's when you started to see a whole bunch of these mumble rappers, these no talented. In most of these artists, they all sound the same. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, going back to my era, we had the variety. Like I said before, it was cool to be able to listen to. I even take it back to like the late. I'll take it back to the late '80s when hip hop was really starting to evolve. I take it back to listening to the East Coast. Um, One of my favorite songs, and I still listen to this day, is uh, "On the Smooth Tip" by Sweet Tea. Love that song. Sampled the pop, I think that was Parliament because George Clinton was in Funkadelic. Was it Parliament or Funkadelic? But nevertheless, um, on the Smooth Tip, love that song. And then I would go from Sweet Tea to Kid and Play, then bounce around from Kid and Play to MC Hammer. And I gotta say this, man, and it really bothers me how MC Hammer got treated. When you really think about it, MC Hammer opened up a lot of doors for rappers to where we in the position that we are now because of artists like MC Hammer. And it's a shame that he got attacked, and now basically the people that criticized MC Hammer, he helped evolve rap and make it a multi-million dollar entity at the time. Now, unfortunately, he wasn't good with his money, but I would listen to MC Hammer. Then I would listen to my stuff. I would listen to my region. I would listen to the Two Shorts and those guys like that. Then listen to Paris. Then Digital Underground and stuff. So we had the variety, you know. And then I would go from the Ghetto Boys. Then, even the Two Live Crew. Oh yeah, the beat. Yeah, British Nice. I had a troop jacket. I had a troop jacket too. I had a troop jacket. But that's what I'm saying about the late '80s and stuff. And then LL Cool J came out with Bigger and Deffer. So you were starting to see hip hop evolve. And then in the '90s, it just like blew up. Then you started to see the groups like Gangstar, even though Gangstar came out around like '89, but Gangstar really didn't start making a waves till like '90, '91. Then you started to see the groups like the Ghetto Boys, and then eventually Outkast, they came. Outkast, people like that. And when I say Outkast, like Outkast, they really like Andre Benjamin. He was not lying when he said the South got something to say, because Outkast, when they came with Players Ball, and I never knew this. And shout out to Goodfellas Sports TV. I did not know Players Ball was actually a Christmas song. It was supposed to be a Christmas song. When LaFace Records, when TLC had LaFace Records compilation album where it was like a Christmas album, and they had TLC. They did, and by the way, that was a dope song by TLC. But Players Ball was supposed to be on that album. So I guess Outkast, maybe they flipped the lyrics a little bit. And then that was like they opening single, and then the rest is history. Then they released a Southern California Playalistic Music. Then it was a wrap. The ATL, the South, they was on the map. That was it. So, that was it. And last time I checked, all those artists were black. Now, let's talk about, I'll say this much. I give Fat Joe credit. Fat Joe has managed to stick around for 30 years. And I remember when Fat Joe came out, I'm going to just be honest with you guys. If you under 45, no, I'll say if you under probably 40, you probably don't remember Video Jukebox. But that's how we got accustomed to seeing all those artists. Like, then they had Rap City, they had Yo MTV Rap. But I'm going to be honest with you, Yo MTV Raps didn't really play many West Coast or artists from like the Midwest artists. They play primarily a lot of East Coast rap. That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. So they play mostly their artists, because we all know MTV was in somewhere, they were headquartered in New York City. Okay, that's fine. But like I said, I remember Fat Joe when he came out with that. You gotta flow, Joe. You gotta let him know. You gotta flow, Joe. I give him credit. And Fat Joe made some good music though. I will give him credit. He made good music. And then there was another group. They was like Puerto Rican too. The Beat Nuts. The Beat Nuts. And actually, they was better. They was like a group. They was actually hard. They was hard too. They had a song called "When I Popped the Trunk." Hit the deck. John Wayne couldn't stand in the range of the tech. Head for the hills before you. Yeah, so I'm just saying, they contribute. They wasn't they wasn't creators. And that's all we saying, man. Just, give us our flowers, man. Acknowledge us, pay homage. That's it. Y'all got y'all creations, but that's what I'm saying about us. Do you think Filipinos be saying, "Oh, well, black people helped us create lupia and all that kind of stuff"? That's a Filipino dish. You don't hear nobody doing that stuff, except some of these Sambos. They want to get, black people love to try to give. They love to try to include everybody. Look, where's that got us? Where's that got us trying to include everybody? That's the reason why we ain't got reparations. That's why we get monkey wrench for every movement, because we want to include everybody. Oh, well, black and nah, fuck that. No, black people. Nah, we're not doing that anymore. We have to separate like everybody else. I don't hear it's funny how we always talking about black and brown, but I sure don't hear the brown people saying anything about black people. Because when they want something, they talk about just for them. And it has to be just for us. That should be the new movement. Just for us. We got to stop being ashamed to say just for black people. How we going to let people that don't look like us shame us in the accent for stuff that's going to better our community? Please make that make sense. That's why I would be the worst politician ever, because I would absolutely tell the truth and people wouldn't be able to handle it. This is why I've been saying for years that we need our own political party. These black politicians don't do nothing for us whatsoever. Been leaving us hanging and throwing us under the bus for decades. Whether they're Democrats or Republicans, neither one of them contribute to bettering the black community, but they will help every other group except the group that they come from. So there you have it. This is pretty simple. Oh, Mellow Man. Oh yeah, I remember him. Menta Rosa. And that's what I'm saying. They had dope artists that wasn't black. Hey Timmy, you remember a lot of Shade of Brown? You remember a lot of Shade of Brown? They was cool. We never said that people. We never said that they wasn't good rappers that wasn't black. We never said they were. We never see because they do have artists, rap artists that are black and they are absolutely trash. Little Yachty is one of the few I can think of, and damn near 80% of current female rappers because they all sound the same. The only female rapper that I really like is Rhapsody. It's a few. It's a few that's okay, but you know, Rhapsody is like the only one that's like really out there, like, really spitting fire and putting out good music. No, they had some. No, I'm just saying, Ruben. They had some decent, like like I said, they had a lot of Shade of Brown. They had the Beat Nuts. They had, Fat Joe was solid, and then Big Pun came along. But the funny thing is, Big Pun technically only made really one studio album, and then he passed. Unfortunately, he ate his life away. And Big Pun used to be skinny. He ran into some money, and he just you know ate his life away, unfortunately. So I'm gonna say this once again: just pay homage. Oh yeah, Kid Frost. Yeah, I remember Kid Frost. I wasn't the biggest Kid Frost fan in the world because I thought to a certain degree, I thought on La Raza, and I'm gonna be honest with you, and I'm gonna take it there. I felt on that song La Raza, I think he was trying to sneak diss black people on that song, and that song La Raza. To me, I felt Kid Frost was trying to he was trying to sneak diss black people on that song. So I just never liked his punk ass. So you know, I just felt that. Johnny Cash was half black. Never knew that. Never knew that. Well, they didn't bring it up in that movie. Well, Johnny Cash, maybe he was because we all know that Babe Ruth. We know that Babe Ruth has some melanin in him. Keep in mind, before I end this stream, Ty Cobbs used to call Babe Ruth a nigger, and Ty Cobbs secretly would be telling people that Babe Ruth was black. What, Richmond, Virginia? Yeah, but I thought, yeah, no, I'm just saying. Well, that proves my point then about La Raza. Like I said, I remember that song. Listen, I'm not Hispanically inclined, but I could just tell listening to the lyrics, he was trying to sneak this black people on that song. Oh, hey, never knew that. Okay, Ruben, see that? I'm glad you on point. No, I would just if you think I'm joking, go listen to that song. I remember the part when he said, "What's the matter? Afraid you're gonna get hurt?" And I was like, okay, like who are you referring to?" So I said, "Okay." Now keep in mind, this is 1990 when this song come out. I'm like 16 because I really this was when you start to see the world for what it is or what it's gonna become in your eyes. But I started to peep that, and I remember listening to that song, and I never liked it. And I said, and I just remember listening to that song, and I said, yeah, dude, something ain't right. And then even my brother, he was, older than me, and my brother told me, yeah, dude, trying to sneak diss black people on that song. So, because when he said that part, what's the matter? Afraid you're gonna get hurt? And then my brothers explained that to me. He said, yeah, dude, trying to he said, yeah, dude, trying to take a shot at black people. So yeah, I said it. You know what was so bad about that? I gotta even tell the truth now. For those who know, Timmy Diamonds know this. Okay, somebody need to tell Ryan Coogler he need to make a movie about Soul Beat. Okay, so about Chuck Johnson. Shout out to the late great Chuck Johnson. They used to play that on Soul Beat too. They used to play La Raza on Soul Beat. I know Rap City used to play La Raza, and I know on Jukebox they used to play that a lot. They used to play that on Jukebox a lot. That used to, for a minute when that song first came out, that was constantly in Jukebox top 10. No, excuse me. They didn't bring Jukebox. No, it was Soul Beat, and it was like some of the other local they used to play that on they used to play that on KMEL or KSOL at the time. So like I said, when I saw that song, I know who Larry June is. I know who he is. I don't I don't listen to his music like that, but people keep telling me to check him out. But yeah. Somebody need to bring that up. Maybe I'll do a video about Kid Frost, why I never liked him. But yeah, I just wanted to put that information out. So, in closing, appreciate you guys being on here. Always send me information. I had no idea Johnny Cash was half black. So, yeah, I heard of him. I heard of him. All right, you guys. Appreciate you. I'm out.